because it's the silly, stupid, fascinating, weird, wonderful. They're my people, and more often than not, they're the geeky people as well.
But this real sense that what you do as you emerge out of Middle Earth in your real life is you hope, because Tolkien's so good at capturing that.
I mentioned Betamax. For anybody older, that's the old version of a video cassette. A video cassette is an old version of a DVD. A DVD is not set with a cloud.
And I said, I'm not happy, I've got bits wrong here. And she said, yeah, but that's all part of the learning process. That's all part of that makes it unique to you, that those kind of imperfections within it.
Welcome to Faith and Geekery, where we meander into the weird, wonderful and crafty. Here, everyone is welcome to explore their hobbies, stories and community, and to practice curiosity and wonder with us, and to delve into what that means for our faith journeys and the values that come out of it. I am your host, Becca, and this is the other host,
Mark.
And we have our wonderful in-house, are we saying Dungeon Master or just DM?
I mean, you could even say Game Master if we ever delve into a different
If we're not
platform.
going into dungeons.
Yeah.
Shelby, welcome, Shelby. It is absolutely delightful to have you with us in the Faith and Geekery studio. For those listening on the podcast, please know you are very welcome at whatever time of day you're listening. And if you are listening live, as ever, please do join in, find your chat with us, and settle in for a lovely evening of exploring session 0 and what that means. So, Mark, what are we doing now?
We are going to talk, first of all. Turns out,
chat, shall we?
Yes. We asked the normal question about what geeky things that we've been up to since we have last met, or since ever, really. Stephen already says hi. There's another little hi as well from Ben. And yeah, what have we been up to geeky since we've last gathered, since we've last met around the table? Shall I begin whilst I give you a moment's thought? Again, for podcast listeners, I have a little subtitle over here. There you go. That just reminds me, and it says editor of videos and sound, because I've been doing lots of editing of videos and sound editing and tech help over the last week. That's been partially work as well. And also I have this really kind of quirky trend of going into churches where they're kind of gone, we've had a problem all week, it's not working. And I turn up and just my mere presence, it works. And they go, well, it wasn't working. It wasn't working. And so I was there for like an hour and I was there going, it's still working. I'm glad it's working. And this is how I would fix it if it wasn't working. But it is working. So that's the way.
That's like when you go to the doctor, isn't it? You go to the doctor having felt absolutely rough. Yes. You turn up, you sit in the waiting room going, oh, I don't know if I could sit this for any longer. You get into the doctor's office, and everything has gone away that was the problem with you.
Every time.
Every time.
Ben would like to know, why does Becca know where her towel is?
I will give a non-specified prize if someone is able to identify what geeky genre my reference is. Shelby knows. Mark didn't know either.
I didn't at first, but you mentioned it a couple of episodes ago, so that's why I know.
I have had to educate. But I know where my towel is, and that is important for survival.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you. Tim and Ann Hood announces.
Oops, sorry.
Well, there you go. Do you want to click it? You click the magic button. Ooh, there we go. Tim says it's in case of a Vogon invasion. There's a clue. So there you go. Tim knows. Tim knows where my towel is.
The other bit of geekiness is editing videos and sound, and that has mainly been Faith and Geekery related. And that has been about our next couple of episodes, a couple of little snippets and clips, and so tonight we have at least 4 clips to show you as well. So that's all very exciting.
It is very exciting.
So that's what I've been up to. I've also played a little bit of Minecraft.
Nice.
With my
made
kiddos.
in Minecraft?
A castle.
Okay, nice.
With nice kind of stained glass windows, kind of contrasting with kind of nice brickwork with quartz blocks, and just about to set up some sensor trigger lights and things like that. So rather than the lights
Do you
being...
use special skins when you do Minecraft? Have you allowed the uploading of skins, or are you using the bog standard?
This is just the bog standard.
Nice.
These are my children's world. So sometimes we've kind of done Mario and things like that, but in this instance, it's just, especially this evening, it was just with my daughter, who's fairly new to playing Minecraft, or rather, she's only just exploring the fun of it. We've been on a bit of a journey. I don't know if I've said this already, but we've been on a bit of a journey with her love of cats and wolves. Much so that it's slowed the whole game down. So we unfortunately had to go on a bit of a cat cull in order to actually play the game again. But, kind of 40, 50 cats later, and still there's a little bit of lag.
I know, but there's joy every time you tame one and their eyes go big. And
well, they're having kittens as well, so they're even more.
Yeah, brilliant.
It's quite a invasion. So, Becca, Shelby, what have you been up to, geeky or otherwise?
Go on, Shelby.
I've been I've in so much geeky stuff. On Steam they just re-released Sims 1 and 2.
Oh,
so my Tim has bought 2, and then he's bought me Sims 1. So I'm reliving my childhood there of that. I mean, it's a little bit worse than I remember. I think the nostalgia there was like, I thought this was better than that. It's still good. And there's things with that. And then I have my regular Dungeons and Dragons game every Monday. So that was yesterday. So that was a lot of fun. It's just really good to sort of have that outlet after work of I'm going to be a fairy and be absolute chaos and steal people's spices.
Love that.
Nice. For what purpose were you stealing spices, Shelby?
So we're in a demi-plane right now where like everything is really dull and gray and food isn't that great. And so like I need the spices so that when I make food for the rest of the group, it actually tastes good. And that's That's my little thing.
Because I'd imagine in a kind of dull, muted place, actually spice becomes a really good sensation if there's no color.
Yeah,
interesting.
And my character in that world is sort of to the bane of the DM there, is because it's the campaign we're running is supposed to be very dark and depressing and oppressive, and I'm like a rainbow fairy, always happy. I've nearly gone unconscious twice, and everything is great. It's gonna be fine. I have spices now. So
this sounds very much like my campaign that I've just finished 2 weeks ago. So we did it for 3.5 years, I think, or 3 years of the Rime of the Frost Maiden. Won't go into the details for the spoilers, but I was a fairy barbarian, and and my DM, fantastic. Tom is great, but his world was like The Revenant. It was like bleak, it was harrowing, there was like, and it's like I should have really had a conversation with you before I kind of came out with this fairy barbarian whose backstory was a dance troupe kind of performance artist with all the colours and all the vibes. So that sounds very familiar. I also want to lean back towards Sims as well. Has anyone ever done any research about the sort of games and the houses that you made back when it was a thing in your childhood?
Back before you had houses of your own.
My house.
But then compare it to actually what did your actual house look like, and did your persona kind of match these things, or did you just kind of lock everybody into like 4 walls and watch them die?
Everyone in my Sims were always pleasant, outgoing, slightly ambitious, but not too ambitious. They were all almost identical, but I couldn't cope with the conflict of it. They all had plenty of room, plenty of space. They never got trapped. Yeah.
No, I always tried to be very kind to my Sims. But I would make my house as a child, and then I remember playing Sims at like, I don't know, 8 or 9, whenever the first Sims came out. And then I was like, I'm gonna be an architect. And then they're like, it's involves a lot of math. Never mind. I'm gonna do that.
I think I went for like haunted house vibes and kind of gravestones and vampiric. Tim mentioned it a little bit earlier, but we've got a little comment saying a dual muted place devoid of flavour. I assume about the plane, and then he's just put must be Nottingham.
Unacceptable.
No offence to Nottingham.
Or Nottingham takes offence.
We go eat in Nottingham for every major like holiday, specifically because of the food.
Because of the food, good food in Nottingham.
Yeah.
I have. I'm now near the end of my choreography of recreating the Hercules opening scene and Won't Say I'm in Love. So I've got a mashup of the two songs. I have now got all of my movement marked out. So that is for each. I've got 6 characters in total, and each step needs to be marked out. Timing is spot on. They move on different faded sets so that they come in and then come out. I have now got the choreography so that they're now dancing in time to the movement, and I'm just getting the final for Can't Say I'm in Love. The 5 muses are standing on plinths, and the Meg is walking into quite a beautiful set, if I don't mind saying, and it's a mixture of essentially musical theatre and choreography, as you see in the movie, and just trying to find and source those different animations and pull them out of. You have animation overrides that make your avatar look alive and breathe, and so I've just been kind of kit bashing essentially the existing animations that I have in my inventory. So there's a point where she is shooing away a Cupid statue in the thing, and it's just because the timing is so precise and I'm not in control of the music when that first starts playing for the performance. It is now down to the last second to get the kind of comic effect of what she's doing, but I'm kind of relieved to be on the final leg, and then we can go into dress rehearsals and things, and my costumes are on point. So yeah, really happy with how, and that is so all consuming. That is, no matter how stressful my day has been, I can go in and completely immerse into the kind of the different layers of coding and building and the musicality of it. So yeah, it's great. Really excited.
Fantastic. And I think no one else has really commented about what geekiness they've been up to, so we will crack on with our geeky news. So let's go over to the geeky news.
This is the Faith and Geekery news, broadcast to your home and around the world.
So we have in front of us a PowerPoint slide, basically crammed full of lots of things, including the first thing is Wallace and Gromit to mention most Powell was the most watched program on TV, I think of 2024, with a total of 21.6 million views, the highest total. For the highest total for 20 years. 21.6 million is also the number of Easter eggs you can find within the show. I think I've grabbed that off Facebook somewhere. There's also in the news that Prue Leith has stepped down from the Celebrity Bake Off to be replaced by Caroline Waldgrave. Is that how you pronounce it? Not sure. So I'm not sure if that's just the celebrity one or whether that's actually going forward to everything else, which would be quite crazy. We've had the Grammys in this last week. I've just written a few of the people who got awards. I wasn't fully sure. I didn't exactly know what to report back on. But then also we're in this kind of strange time of trailers, and is it the Super Bowl or something that's kind of coming up, or they're dropping a number of trailers over this next kind of couple of days. The Fantastic Four trailer has dropped, which looks pretty cool. Jurassic World Rebirth trailer is coming tomorrow. That's Wednesday, and so there's a number of like trailers that are dropping around this kind of popular time, just to kind of get people interested and souped up. Also, in our pictures, there's a little kind of brand of Monster Manual, because Dungeons and Dragons Monster Manual comes out, I think, on the 17th of February. Or if you are a member, or
you get it early.
then you get it earlier. And if you kind of pay in blood, you get it even a week early. No, it's even kind of sooner. Then there's also,
if you have the right spices.
Yes, absolutely. Then Lydia had shared on our Discord, which is a little plug that if you want to share the conversation, be part of sharing things and bits and pieces, then please join our Discord. The information is on the screen for those who can see it. Pardon me. So then Lydia has shared that kind of Buffy the Vampire Slayer reboot is in the making with Sarah Michelle Gellar, which watch this space. Also, there's just a bit of gaming news that also this month there is Civilization 7 coming out, which that looks interesting. Are we fans of Civilization and the franchise? Yeah. For me, that was for when I was a teenager, early teens, even. It might even been 11s and 12s. That Civilization came out to me. However, we enjoyed playing it, but my older brother hated me because Civilization was the first game I realised that I could hack. And so the very beginning, I realised that I could delve into the programming of it, and it wasn't kind of coded properly. It was just, you could just open up the text files and edit them, so it wasn't hidden behind anything. So I changed the entire intro to the game. So I actually, being a nice, lovely Christian, I decided to give it the 7 days of creation story rather than what they'd given it. I'd kind of changed everything, what like the various world leaders, either were being aggressive towards you. It was like, rather than kind of, this means war, it's like, let's have a pillow fight. And pretty much ruined the game for my brother. But I found it really funny. So Civilization 7, I think I had Civilization 1, and I possibly had Civilization 2, and then I had Civilization 6 on the Switch. And so I'm intrigued to see where they go with this, and whether it will just be a improvement of graphics or what? Question mark. Then we've got 3 little final things. Pictures, that is. One is Enola Holmes 3 is in production, or will be kind of shot later this year, I think. Then we also have Wake Up Dead Man, a Knives Out mystery. Yes. So that's I've forgotten the character name, but
Benoit Blanc.
Yeah.
I cannot wait. I love it. So good.
Yeah, I think it's either a hit, it's like Marmite, isn't it? You would love it or you hate it. And in this household, we've absolutely loved the Knives Out stuff.
It's so good.
And it's dare I say a hilarious accent, or is that offensive?
I don't think it's I mean, you could find it funny. I think it's so good. It's so just chef's kiss. I wish I could do that accent, but my southern accent is not that kind of southern accent.
It reminds me of was it the rooster from Looney Tunes? Foghorn Leghorn sort of thing, with that drawl, and it's fantastic. But the acting and the script writing of the first 2 have been really fab as well. So I look forward to that third one. And then just finally, just to say that Gladiators has been renewed for yet another series. So yes, another season. So that is the end of Geeky News. Is there anything to mention about any of these things, to hype about, talk about, or diss about?
Oh, diss? Can we diss?
I guess we can.
You can.
Review.
I think the only negative thing I'd have to say is that one of the main posters that Marvel and Disney used for Fantastic Four was AI generated, and it's why? Yeah, so that's my only diss. Is like, I liked the trailer, but why did you use AI poster? That's weird.
That is annoying. We support our independent artists.
We haven't gone down the AI. Have we had an episode on AI here?
Oh.
Because
We haven't, no.
Because I've had a couple of conversations in the past week or so about the ecological impact, the kind of moral impact of AI. It would be really interesting because I use it to summarize meetings. I've used it to generate images. It would be great to have a conversation where, it's important that our values drive our actions. This is, after all, Faith and Geekery. That we can combine that kind of conversation. So let me put a pin in that and put it in our let's talk about something.
Benna said we need AI hosts. I'm offended. I think, I agree. There's the ethics behind AI which we need to explore, and again, it's that. I'm sure somebody quoted it about saying, "I want my robots to do my washing up and my laundry." Rather than my art and my creativity, and that for me kind of hits it. It's like we want these automated things to do the rubbish jobs rather than the things that we actually get inspired by.
Enjoy doing.
But yeah, so
there you go. I've added it. I've added it to future conversation.
Yes. So that is the end of Geeky News. And at this point, we're then going to swiftly segue into the quiz.
I got questions. The quiz.
And I'm going to I've completely forgot to share a screen, but I'll just do that just now. And
that was a premature. Okay, hang on. Wait, he's coming.
Are you ready? Are you got your paper and pens ready?
Yes.
Oh, Tim had just said, by the way, Nick Cage, I don't want AI actors as they don't reflect the spectrum of the human soul. Very profound. So, should we mention that this is your other half, Shelby, Tim?
Yes.
But we've already kind of made sure that you haven't got the answers already, so you are just
do not have the answers.
Unaware to this as what we are.
Yes.
We do occasionally, in good, I know that Tim's watching, in good spirits, maybe just have a little bit of a word about Tim.
For some mockery while he's paused on screen. You can join in if you want to, but there is no obligation.
Okay.
I mean, you have to face him afterwards. So
I'll say only positive things.
Only positive things. I mean, it's all done with deep affection.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So over to Tim, who's looking quite poised at the moment. Tim has got his hands together in a prayer-like form with a beanie on his head.
He looks like he's about to pull it down over his face and then go and rob a bank.
I was going to say
like
that. I thought he was going to give a TED talk. Okay, let's play.
Quiz. Hi, welcome to the Faith and Geekery quiz for this, the 4th of February 2025. If you've been around here before, then you know what's about to happen. But for those who don't know and who are new, here's the quiz and how it will work. There will be 5 questions. Each question will be read out twice. There will be a 5-second gap between questions where I, Tim, will be paused and you've time to write down answers. If you're watching this rather than listening on the podcast, you might see my paused face during that time. Then, after all the questions are read, you get to go through the answers. The prize! Self-satisfaction at the knowledge that you have and the blind guesses that you made. So, have you got something to write down? Are you ready? Well then, let's start the quiz. Question number 1. The Sims celebrated 25 years of house building, pull ladder deleting, and woohooing in weird places this week by launching the legacy collections of Sims 1 and Sims 2 with all the DLC. My question to you is this. What a Sim needs is tracked by their needs. Name 2 of the 8 needs from the original Sims games.
Oh.
That question again.
Blimey.
What a Sim needs is tracked by their needs.
Hmm.
Name 2 of the 8 needs from the original Sims game.
8 of them. Ooh, do we get more
Just-
points if we name more?
Oh yeah, can we name them all?
I cannot name them all.
I just played this last night.
And
The Sims was my cosplay when we first did cosplay.
yeah. With the little green
We
thing.
had
on
a-
it.
You had
my
the plum
pet-
bob?
My plum bob.
Yeah.
Okay, I've written 2 down. Are we trying to
got-
write more of them down?
I've
or-
got
I've got-
4 down.
I've got 4.
Okay.
Oh, I haven't played it in like 30 years. So it's like- how old is it? then?
25 years.
Yeah. Okay, then maybe not that long then.
Oh, so then I was 5. Okay.
Is that when you started playing it?
I got it like
Wow.
I was born on a computer pretty much. So yeah, I'm pretty sure I was like 5 or 6.
Let's release Tim from his
thinking face.
prison.
Oh no, is he paused the whole time?
Yeah, he's
Question
also paused.
number 2.
Yes.
Natalie
Held that
Cassidy
pose.
announced last week that after 32 years, she will be leaving EastEnders, with her exit being aired around the 40th anniversary of the soap's launch later this month. There, however, is one character that has been on EastEnders since its very first episode without leaving the famous square. Which character is it? That question again.
Oh, that was going to be multiple
What
choice.
is the name of the character who has been on Albert Square in EastEnders since the first episode aired 40 years ago?
I've not watched that for 25 years.
I don't know what
Yeah.
EastEnders is.
It's a soap. I thought he was going to say like Natalie Cassidy is leaving what soap as a question rather than like
Right.
all the details. Blimey, what character is interesting?
Well, I feel like character is the key word here. Maybe. I don't know.
I'll make up a name.
Stevens put, when I was 5, Pong hadn't been released. Pong was a good game. I'm trying to think of any characters on this.
I've got no clue. So I've just made up.
I've written down one of the only names that I can actually remember.
I know that this person isn't in it anymore, so I'm just going to make a humorous attempt at an answer rather than anything.
I don't know if he's in it anymore or she.
Yeah, genuinely no idea. Let's unpause Tim.
Play on. That's a nice paused face, Tim. Thank you.
And the fact he's pausing when we've paused it as well is quite sweet.
Question number 3. Critical Role, the popular D&D actual play series, will air its finale of its 3rd campaign this Thursday with an 8.5-hour long episode. Over 10 years, it spawned the TV series, sideshows, collectibles, board games, and much more. My question to you is this. If we count just the main Thursday night episodes,
Oh my gosh.
how many episodes of Critical Role have there been, including the finale that's to air this week? That question again.
Oh my gosh.
How many
So
main
3 campaigns.
Thursday night episodes
I can help you out a little bit.
of Critical
some
Role
clues.
have there been
What is the number?
since it started 10
So-
years ago?
So
You will
each
have a 5-episode buffer.
so there's been 3 campaigns. Each campaign has had over 100 episodes, if that helps at all. Campaign 2 had the most episodes though.
How long is an episode?
Well, this is just this isn't hours. This is how many episodes.
Yeah,
there've
well, that's
been.
what I was wondering. I was trying to.
Oh, I
to
mean,
be
it's like
cheeky.
What's the question?
how many episodes?
How many hours?
episodes?
No,
Was
it's
that-
episodes.
How
How
many
many-
episodes?
How many episodes of Critical Role?
I thought you said hours.
I've got
No.
the question written down.
Can we just go back and just
Yeah.
check?
That question again. How many main Thursday night episodes
Oh, episodes. Sorry, I
of
stand
Critical
corrected.
Role have there been since it started 10 years ago?
Yeah.
You will have a 5-episode buffer.
think I got it.
So,
I got it.
answers down, please.
Yeah, so each campaign's had over 100 episodes. So,
And there's been 3 campaigns.
Question
Yep.
number 4. On this day in 2004, what website was founded? On this day in 2004, what website was founded? And I see your
2004.
face, Mark and Becca and Shelby. And here is the hint.
How does he see?
The creation of this website became the inspiration for a movie that came out in 2010.
Oh, okay, that helps.
Oh.
There's a movie made
That
about
does.
it.
Yeah, that's right.
I have only a single guess.
And
Oh, should we just pause? Do you need any longer?
No.
Is it Friends Reunited? No.
finally, question number 5.
Oh,
D&D, or Dungeons and Dragons, is continuing celebrating its 50th anniversary this year, with new books, new content, Unearthed Arcana, and more live shows coming out to celebrate. My question is, what class has been playable in every edition of Dungeons and Dragons since its launch with the original box set 50 years ago? What class has been playable in every edition of Dungeons and Dragons since the original box set was launched 50 years ago? And to be kind to you, you have an options to pick from.
Oh, thank
Was it the
you.
barbarian, the rogue, the cleric, or the druid?
Oh, God.
The barbarian, the rogue, the cleric, or the druid?
It's just going to be a hard guess here.
And for those who don't know what about a class is, Tim started to explain it. We might explore that a little bit later as we come on to talk about it. Shall we get the answers?
Yes.
Or should we just leave Tim up here?
Let's just leave Tim in that facial position for the rest of the evening.
It's very
Yes.
kissable.
Oh,
No, it is adorable.
I'm allowed to say that.
You are allowed to say that. We won't necessarily agree with you, because
Right.
that might make us all uncomfortable.
Yeah, exactly.
The answers! I know he's just paused.
It's time for those answers. Question number 1. What name 2 of the
Oh my
8
gosh.
needs from the original Sims game? So those needs are, remember, if you have any 2 of these, you get the point. Hunger,
Yes.
energy, comfort, fun, hygiene,
Ah!
social, bladder, and room.
Oh,
Forgot about
From the Sims 3
room.
onwards, room.
what
and
was the last one?
environment.
Room.
Oh, as in
Room.
whether you liked the room or not.
Yeah.
I see. I put food and entertainment because I thought it was like, is that? Do I
Do
get
they-
that? Am I allowed that?
I mean, they're very specific on the word.
They are very specific.
Okay, then that's a 0 then. All right.
Were merged together, and comfort was removed, and they removed it all entirely, and they changed the entire system to be called motives. Question number 2. Which character has been on EastEnders since the very first episode? I hope you know this. It was Ian Beale.
Oh, that's his
Fun
name.
fact, Ian Beale started off as a 15-year-old, and they aged him up within 1 year so he could do more adult storylines.
Oh.
I forgot his name, and I was trying to kind of go, what was it? In the end, I decided to opt for Dot Cotton's Ashes because I knew she'd left, but I just wondered if the ashes were still there.
I don't think
Still
it
part
counts
of
as
it.
a character.
Oh.
No, maybe not.
Oh,
Oh, rubbish. I'm doing well.
There are 3 characters, in addition to Ian, who have been on the street since 1985, but they've all left the street at various points. They're
and come back
Kathy
again.
Beale, his mum,
Yeah.
Sharon Watts, and Martin Fowler, who was born in August of 1985.
Well,
Question
there you
number
go.
3. How many episodes of the main Critical Role
Okay.
campaign have there
Okay.
been since it launched 10 years ago?
Fingers
The
crossed.
answer is 377 episodes.
I got it!
So if you
Oh,
answered
come
either
on.
382
I got it.
or 372, then you still get a point.
I got
So that breaks down to
333. I was so
150
close.
episodes in Campaign 1, 144 episodes in Campaign 2, and 121 episodes, including the finale this week, in Campaign 3.
Yeah.
On average, with every episode being roughly around 4 hours in length, That's 1,508 hours of content, or 62.83 days of viewing if you did nothing else and you didn't sleep.
Yeah, I did. I got 360, so I did not. What did you get, Shelby?
377.
Wow, well done.
Listen, I'm a huge Critical Role nerd, so if I didn't get that one, I would have been upset with myself.
Fair enough.
So, you can catch up on that. Question number 4. On this day in 2004, what website was founded? It's yours, mine. You're probably actually watching this live stream on it. It's Facebook. It was founded on the 4th of February 2004.
1
It was
point.
originally called The Facebook.
My mum still
Lives
calls it The
have
Facebook.
ever been enriched by the creation of this website. And question number 5.
Okay.
Which class has been playable in every edition of
My
Dungeons
guess
and
is
Dragons
Barbarian.
since the original
I
box
picked
set launched
Druid.
50 years ago? The answer is the Cleric.
I knew it.
The
Good
Cleric was one of the
Lord.
first 3 original classes, alongside Bitey Man and Magic User, which got renamed to Fighter and Wizard.
Was that Fighty Man or
Those
Bitey Man?
options you had. The
Fighty.
Barbarians came out
I wanna
in
be
the
a Bitey
Unearthed
Man.
Arcana in 1985. Druids were introduced in Eldritch Wizardry in 1976. And the Thief, later known as the Rogue, was introduced in the first ever supplement in 1975. The same supplement that also introduced the Beholders, Blink Dogs, and the Displacer Beasts.
I love Blink Dogs.
For the first time in a while, 5 questions, 5 points. How many did you get? Answers in the comments or let us know on the Discord. That has been the quiz.
5
now,
questions, 6
back
points.
to everyone in the Faith and Geeky studio.
Not to correct him or anything, but there is satisfaction in correcting Tim. Definitely 6 points, 5 questions.
Why was it 6?
Because the first one got 2 points.
No, it was 2
No, it's
for the
just
one.
one.
Oh,
He said,
really?
yeah, you have to get 2 for one.
Yeah.
So, unfortunately, he was correct. And unfortunately,
Oh,
I've still only
shame
got
to you,
1.
Tim.
I don't think I've got more than 2 from a
got
Tim quiz so far.
3.
I do quite well out of a Tim quiz. I got 3.
Mm.
If the first one doesn't count as 2 points, which I feel it should.
So we've done the quiz, we've done geeky news. We're not going to do geeky gallery this week. We're going to come back to that next week, and that is another plug for Discord. So if you are doing some hobbies or something weird with cats, no, don't do that. But I don't know what Becca's doing with your cat.
Like give me a little moustache every now and then with his
that's what you're
tail in
doing.
front of my face.
I thought you were like licking the cat's tail or something, which is a bit weird and
No, look,
disgusting.
it just looks like a twitchy moustache.
Yes, Becca's got a black cat on her desk, and that tail is wafting in front of her face. So this week we are talking about D&D, and actually this is a little bit of a thing that we've been working up to, is that we met together online a while back, and then we met in person, some of us, to explore D&D, and Shelby was our DM, and we did a session together and did like a bit of an encounter thing, and so that is going to be kind of coming out over the next coming weeks, and that's what I've been partially editing and trying to do better with the audio, because it turns out having 2 mics in a massive room with 7 people is a bit rubbish, so I've done my best to get good enough quality for it. But this is just an exploration of D&D, so you might be used to it, you might not be used to it. This might be something that you've skated away from or that you've delved into, but this is just a little bit of a saunter through D&D and to explore some bits of it. And the first one of these is we're going to be looking at session 0 and like the first steps of the kind of main understanding of it. I'm going to keep on talking for a few more moments, if that's all right. Basically, for me, growing up in the 80s, my parents had sort of knew about Dungeons and Dragons, but had heard about the kind of stuff happening in America. So my parents were like, nope, you're not doing that. However, we played games such as, what was it called? We played computer games with, in fact, there was one game called Dungeons, which is one of my favourites, multiplayer, with a barbarian, a ranger, a wizard, and somebody else. And so we were always fascinated that we weren't allowed to play Dungeons and Dragons, but we were allowed to play a computer game with the same sort of characters. And then my older brother asked for Hero Quest, the board game, which again had barbarians, wizards, rogues, and it's just like what? But my parents were like, yeah, that's fine. I went, oh, cool, that's fine then, and because it wasn't the branded Dungeons and Dragons that they'd heard the fear about and the worry about, and then just as we kind of grew up, we just kind of recognised it as creative play, imaginative play, and otherwise. And I think what I would say from the outset is that there's been this baggage associated with it, especially from Christian circles. But actually, I think it's I think we've all got weaknesses in certain areas, and if yours is about fantasy and creative and imaginative stuff, then it's okay to pass it. If it's not your thing, then it's fine. Just don't. It's fine. But for those of us who are okay with it and can understand that it is just a game and that we can explore things, then it is also fine. But that's where we're going to come to our session 0 conversation and explore that. Is that okay to jump in at that point, Shelby, to explain a bit of that?
Yeah.
So, yes, session 0.
I think session 0s are probably, I would say they're a relatively new thing. Maybe only within the last, I don't know, maybe 5 years or so of people really instead of like a major IP like Critical Role or something like that, regular Dungeons and Dragons players start incorporating a session 0, which I think it's mostly to get a baseline of the dungeon master, the DM, and then the players to sort of say, this is kind of the story I want to build with everybody. What are you comfortable with? How would you like to approach this story? I think it's really important to do a session 0 so that you get everybody's baseline. If some people are more comfortable in combat and they don't really want to do the role play, you can sort of work around that, or that's when you can decide at that session 0, maybe the game that I'm about to run is not for you. Maybe you need a different dungeon master to sort of fulfill that need you have with combat-based games. But it also just sort of, I think it's a good safety tool to establish for your game because it is a creative outlet. And some people might be more open to topics and discussions in game that others aren't. And so just creating that baseline of what is everybody comfortable with when we create this story together with your characters.
Yeah. I really like that idea of creating a story with these characters, and that it is, because it is like it's not just the DM just leading you through. It's like a responsive kind of environment that you're kind of journeying through together. And whilst the DM is likely to take the lead in that, there's actually it's a cooperative exploration of imagination and gameplay, and therefore the session 0, I guess, is that kind of a way in. So it's a conversation. So you're not starting the game at that point. What you're doing is talking about your expectations and your hopes, your wishes. It's kind of getting that kind of stuff aired so that people are going in prepared and equipped to know what to expect and things. And there will be surprises, and there won't be, So, we kind of get to talk through stuff and explore stuff. Becca, I think you were the only person in our session 0.
Well, not quite a complete novice. We did a very, very fast game when we went to Comic-Con, which was brilliant. But it was essentially, if you imagine you're watching a movie and there's a very short scene, that is what we did. Whereas this was more like we did a movie's worth. That has a beginning, a middle, and end, and then some really strange some twists that happened. And I think I don't know if you've gone on car journeys and play card games. It's where you essentially you say a sentence of the story and the next person takes it on. This is a bit more involved than that. I think that's how I would describe it. And it's you get as much out of it as you can put in. Some people did silly voices. I did not do silly voices. And by silly voices, I mean very accurate regional dialect and accents. Not to be dismissive of people's hard work and effort. But I cannot sustain an accent.
We
so.
shall come on to that a little bit later. But shall I play a first little clip? This first one is about 51 seconds of our session 0.
I've not actually done anything more than that. Do I just need to go back to the very beginning?
I'd say just click the link again from the WhatsApp.
It's a very good place to start.
I find that really fun.
Especially in the new rules.
Oh yeah, and the new rules.
Did you get a book about that, Tim?
I did.
Did you get it signed?
I mean, I did.
Tell us about this.
Have you told anyone about this yet?
You mean this one right here?
That's amazing.
It's a bit like this one, but without the graffiti on it.
Remarkable.
Tim has opinions on that.
I'm just checking what the subclasses are.
This is a surprise that Tim has opinions.
So that is a little glimpse of the first kind of meanderings of our session 0, and there was mentioned about our player's handbook, which I guess is the kind of go-to book that gives you the general structure of a Dungeons and Dragons class and background, heritage, and all that kind of stuff. And so
helps you build the character itself.
So you can get kind of materials that do help you do like a one-shot kind of things, like an all-in-one sort of set. Pardon me. And so they have that, but this is the sort of thing that would help you have a good old deep dive into your character background bits and your specialities and all that kind of stuff. Whereas the person who DMs will have a Dungeon Master's handbook, won't they? Which will go into a bit more of the grittiness of world building and things like that.
So Shelby, if someone like myself was coming to this brand spanking new, they've met someone who will take the role as Dungeon Master with all the experience and depth of wisdom that you have. What would you recommend? Before they've even come to round 0, session 0,
right?
What do they need to know before coming? That this isn't as overwhelming. If you glance at that book,
I was going to say it can be very overwhelming for a person of like, I have all of these choices, and it's
so much choice.
It's sort of it's kind of going back to what would you like to get out of it, like, because you can have characters that mostly sit in the background. If you have players that aren't very comfortable with speaking out loud, I would sort of go with that first. I would say, well, do you like improv? Do you like to sort of build the story? And if you don't, but you still want to play, then we can sort of go based off, okay, well, we can make it based off of your roles. Because ultimately with Dungeons & Dragons, the dice sort of dictates how well you do anything. And so I have had players who they were interested in Dungeons & Dragons, but they weren't, they said, I thought they were creative, but they said they weren't very creative. They didn't know if they could really fulfill the character role. And so it sort of, for their first couple of sessions, it was like, okay, well, how about I just build you a character, not overload you with all these overwhelming, you could be a dwarf, you could be an elf, you could be a goblin. So instead of shoving it all in, it's just, all right, let's start you off. This is your character. This is sort of your base line. You don't have to fill any personality details out just yet. We're just going to roll some dice and figure out what happens.
So you could play it just as a board game where, it's all, if you play Monopoly, you've got your fixed shape and you move around the board and the dice tells you where and when to go.
And I think that was very much more like Hero Quest style, is that it was a fixed board. You had so many scenarios and you kind of had 4 characters that you could play as you wished. But the DM, I guess, was more read from a booklet rather than the freedom of DMing. I have actually seen, I want to say it's Helen High Rollers did a one-shot, And what was really nice is that they had this open. So one shot is just like for one session, or usually it rolls over to maybe 2 sessions.
Yeah,
but you aim for one session to sit down, and it could be like maybe 3 hours, 2 hours, but then it may overroll into like, oh, should we just finish this up next week? But what was really funny is that this one was like this great portrayal of saying, and on the battlefield, the heroes were there they'd found these magnificent items, and Sir Henry just went to go for a wee behind the bush, and then and as we kind of see the haze raising up over the kind of the fields, unbeknown to our heroes, 4 goblins turn up and kill them, and the one shot is actually the goblins, and so you kind of from the very off, and so actually they've all got the same stats, but it depends what item they pick up that changes there, and so they've got to think on their feet, and therefore the creativity happens in game rather than overwhelming anybody with all the different options and ideas and things. So that is another way of taking it, is rather than going in steeped with all this preparation and sometimes feeling overwhelmed with it, you could build it up the other way and just kind of go, well, let's start off basic and see how we journey through this world and see how that world informs you rather than you informing the world, which is pretty cool. I'm going to play another video. Is that all right? So this is entitled Classes and Background. There's a few little kind of snippets.
Okay, so I just add class.
Yep, add class, add rogue.
Done.
Okay. So now you should have a little thing of class features. To make this a little bit easier, there should be a level, and then just make sure to click on level 3, and we'll just go through all of those from that. I don't know if you it'll pop up with species. So I don't.
Bird folk, feather speech.
There's technically
the best one if you want to do siren mermaid stuff.
Thank you. Yeah.
Be sea elf.
I just don't want to be a dirty human. I mean,
are you a dirty human? Is that what you are?
You don't have to be.
Don't be so hard on yourself.
Or do you think that you would all you've maybe seen each other on the grounds but don't know each other?
After 3 years, I would know quite a bit.
Okay.
Maybe.
Okay, we could have your character know everybody. maybe they don't know you, but you definitely know them.
I'm like Norm on Cheers. Norm. No.
I hope that was all right, but I also just suddenly realised that isn't explaining that what we've been using there is D&D Beyond, which is a website which kind of goes through these kind of options for you, and you can start off with your character name, and then you go to the class, what type of person that you're going to specialize in, whether it's a barbarian, rogue, etc., and then you go to your race and your kind of heritage features, whether you're kind of a dragonborn or a human or a triton or a tabaxi, or various races are available and options, and each of those kind of come with traits and advantages and things like that, don't they?
And I think that's what we did with Becca. I sort of asked, what do you want to be? And Becca was like, mermaid. And I was like, got it. We'll look at what we have in terms of the game rules and what can we create that is a mermaid. And so
and you kept bouncing that back to me, was essentially I was able to say, this is kind of where I maybe want to go. My default will always be mermaid as a starter. And your knowledge was able to then go, well, this is probably where it fits best for weapons, for the language that I spoke, for what else is there, skills that I had.
Yeah, what you might, because another aspect of Dungeons and Dragons that I don't usually bring up, but there is math involved and there is numbers involved, because part of the gaming aspect is that the character that you create has they have stats. So they have a strength score and a dexterity score and a charisma score, and you create that all at the beginning. And
we did that with the dice. That's when we did all the dice rolling, isn't it?
Yeah, there's 3 different ways to sort of create your stats, but the funnest way is to roll some dice, because that ultimately is why I play Dungeons and Dragons, is because of dice. But
I'm aware of our time. We've got 6 minutes left, and I've got 2 more clips that are both 3 minutes something long. So it's whether we kind of push beyond the hour or otherwise, or there's at least one about dice, which I thought might be helpful to us to explore.
Let's watch the one about dice, and then we can see where we're at.
Here we go.
That is an 8.
An 8?
Yes.
This works out perfectly. Okay, it's going great so far.
Afraid of water.
A D6, please.
Well, Mark and Tim over there were engulfed by flames. Would you like to help?
4. Okay. All right. Okay.
The top half is also a fish.
I didn't want to be all fish.
Oops, all fish.
You got human hands though.
A hydrophobic siren. It's like, oh,
You're afraid of water suddenly.
There's fire! Let me jump into it!
I need a D10.
It's an issue of scale.
Oh.
13.
We know the standard
What was
of
that?
puns that we're getting.
13. I don't.
On
how
a
does that-
D10?
Yeah. It's giving me. That's weird. Hang on. Do you want to roll that again? Oh.
Yeah. So there's
Or to
there
roll
should-
it.
there's going to be something that.
I think
Yeah.
I must have clicked another one as well.
Oh, maybe.
Selected 2. That was
Okay.
a 1.
You got a 1 on the D10. Okay. You will
Ooh,
not get to know the outcome until the game.
Add to
What those-
stage. Can you see that all right?
Yep.
Okay, do I just click
Roll.
on here?
Yep. Roll your first.
I'm going to go for this one.
Oh my god.
Strong.
It's great. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Next one. What is it? Hey, that's good.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, can I put my hand up that I wanted to be a wizard? Yeah?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
You can
Yep,
choose
yep,
where
yep.
they go.
Okay.
Okay,
Oh,
see?
That's
yeah,
fine.
better.
Yeah.
Oh!
Nice.
Ooh, good.
Okay.
Oh, he's okay, yeah.
Oh.
Oh.
No, it's fine. All right, now you
So
get
can
to
I...
pick, you get to pick where you want those.
Oh, okay, so I just thought they were underneath and I had to
Oh,
just
no,
kind of go for
You
that.
can pick where you want those. To
Ooh!
go, Yeah,
In
you're
that
okay.
case then.
A D6. Doo-doo-doo. That's a 4, Shelby.
Okay. All right. A 4. Wonderful.
Oh, that was your best Carol Vorderman voice, then.
So you lose 6 of your fingers to a 3-headed goose
By 4 p.m.
I need another D10.
Does feel like countdown.
It is kind of.
That's another 6.
Another 6. All righty. Another D10.
I'm up 2 from the bottom, 3 from the bottom, Carol.
It's not been Carol for quite some time.
That was a 1.
A 1. Ooh, boy.
That one of the ones that mattered?
No. You're
No,
fine.
we're not there yet. Okay, good.
Another D6.
Tim's the one cleaning out the showers. That
A
roll.
lot of dice.
A 5.
Okay.
0? Oh, that would be 10, wouldn't it?
Yep. Oh. Ooh, fancy.
I was like 0. I am on a roll.
It's been some
that
iconically low rolls here, Brandon. I hope this isn't setting the tone for the rest of the campaign.
one is fancy. I like that one. Okay. D6.
4.
We should have mentioned really for podcast listeners, this was kind of rolling on D&D Beyond, and I think some of it was creating our stat block with about wisdom, charisma, strength, and things like that. Some of those other roles were more mysterious roles that were informing you.
Didn't know what they
the
were.
DM.
That was a me thing. I've got
That
a.
was naughty.
I know.
But I think it was fun and it was kind of interesting to explore, and that's what we were joking about, really, wasn't it? That kind of like, oh, what could this mean?
What could it
Is
be? Yeah, that's another fun thing about being a DM is sometimes in the middle of a game I'll just roll for no reason, but everybody's on edge.
Mm.
Yeah.
Why did they roll? What is that about?
And that's the benefit of having a DM screen, isn't like a little kind of cardboard bit or a wooden bit that goes around you, that there is a bit of mystery of what the DM does. And therefore you can give, even in your language, you can kind of steer people helpfully or unhelpfully, so that if they do like a check in the room, that a perception check, they'll go, oh, I rolled a 4, and you can kind of go, well, it appears to be a normal room.
Yeah,
it's
just a chair. It's just a wooden chair.
And that is the skill of what Shelby was able to bring to the table, is that everyone else could have come as complete novices, but Shelby held a space for us that just was fun and welcoming and mysterious and silly. And I think, you just did such an incredible job for us.
Thank you.
And I think there's also something here about whether you come with if you've got years of experience or not. If you come with an experienced character or like a well-informed backstory of this and that and the other, ultimately you could have the best character. But actually, if your dice rolls are rubbish, then actually you've got to take those dice rolls and that becomes your character.
Run with it. Pretty much.
And so I like the fact that you compared it earlier to kind of drama and kind of how people can kind of improvise, because actually as you roll that dice, you kind of you're intending to do this and that and the other, but actually if you get a really low dice roll, you then have to go, oh, okay, it's going this direction then. And so as long as you have that,
someone before you has made a move that has made what you had in your head fairly impossible, unless you want to impale them with the fork that you happen to be holding. That didn't happen. But it's that, and that's similar to any other game, is that you can see what's happening ahead of you, and that you've got very little control in some ways, which is great. You have your wits to then dance around it as the story unfolds.
I was going to say, I may have said this before, but my initial character, I was like, oh, I'm going to make him a fantastic sorcerer. I'm going to get him to do this. He's going to be bold. He's going to be rich. He's going to be, kind of dripping with charisma. And basically the dice rolls never went in his favour. It became a laughing joke. And I went from this kind of fantastic hero-like figure to a bumbling idiot sorcerer who often tried brilliant things but failed all the time, and became a bit more of a Rincewind-like character, but even worse than that, like a really pathetic sorcerer who just was rubbish. But then I as soon as I leant into that, I was like, you know what, I'm going to go for this, and actually he's going to be a bit of an idiot, but like can I say tough? Is that kind of like, you know what, he's going to have all the best hopes. Yeah. But they're going to dash, and he's going to roll with it, and he's going to, obviously it doesn't matter too much. Let's just do this instead, So I can kind of see that. I think you can go in with all these expectations, but ultimately it will come down to the dice. That's
sort of, I think, what makes it a fun game is, and oftentimes in the game, I like rolling low. I like failing my checks, because then it's just like, what do I do now?
Yeah,
I'm trying to figure it out.
Cool. Yeah, it is very cool.
Yeah.
Do you reckon we've got time for a 3-minute video and then we call it quits?
Yes. I will watch this last little video, and it's all about accents. Apologies, folks, in advance. Please don't get any offence.
No offence.
Not the buttons.
Not the jelly bread puppet. Do you know the Muffin Man?
Hey, for those who
The Muffin Man?
Hey. Okay.
Muffin Man. Oh no, it's the wrong way around, isn't it? Sorry.
I really don't prescribe to the fantasy racism part in general. A lot of like Dungeons and Dragons lore in it of itself has a lot of that, and even regular fantasy settings has a lot of that. Like, dwarves hate elves, vice versa. So I don't do that.
People have heard this.
Have they heard this?
From me a couple
Oh,
of
I'm
times.
so sorry, y'all. If I'd have known, I would have put on a country accent. It would have been a little bit more fresh.
Do it anyway.
Well, no, don't you worry. This accent's gonna come out. There is 100% an NPC that sounds like this.
There goes my accent choice.
Everybody can sound like this. I don't mind. Mine's just going to be a little bit more authentic.
Yeah,
I
just remember what you're competing with, Mark.
I just don't want to offend our DM, which is 99% of gameplay.
Or her rats will eat you.
No, they're lovely. I mean, don't worry about it. I don't want to give it away. Anyway, now I'm stuck in it. We're gonna go through the rest of this.
Transition has been made.
Yep, I can only do like 3 accents very well, or maybe not very well, just sustained. Like I don't drop out of it. So this is one of them. So we're just going to stick.
Go on. What are the 3?
Okay, so the other one. The other one, I'm a little worried to do because when I lived in the States, I had no fear of like offending anybody.
But now I'm on a podcast.
I don't know if it's offensive. I'm still confused on that one because I still play a lot of characters with the accent, but it's sort of just like kind of Eastern European, but not specific enough to like place it, you know.
Well, we actually had this conversation about Lord of the Rings and about Tom Bombadil's character, and the way that the actor, fantastic actor, it was a really rubbish accent if he was going for a Somerset kind of accent or Cornwall or whatever, but he changed the intonation so much where you're going, is he a really bad actor? Is he doing a really bad accent? Or is he doing it in such a way that he's going, no, it's not Cornish. It's kind of Middle Earth. That's what this is. Right. Rather than, so you can just hide behind that really.
That is kind of what I did for some of my characters. It definitely made it sort of, no, I'm from this fantasy land. It's fine. If it sounds a little bit like something in the real world, it's you're just hearing things. The suspense.
Is it 4?
Yeah.
Is it 4?
Oh, yeah.
That's what it says on the game log.
Okay.
Keldor Orgoth.
It's
a good name.
Scottish accent.
Keldor is a truth universally acknowledged. All dwarves are Scottish.
I don't make the rules.
Scottish.
And all drow elves
or whatever that accent Gimli is.
You could be a dwarf that was raised by elves or something, or goblins, or
a bit of
all of my elves have a southern accent.
There we go. That was our little kind of snippet of our session 0 about accents, and I think for me is that we started at the beginning of that clip talking about not leaning into assumptions about what voices people make and otherwise, and then on the end of the thing we made assumptions about what voices certain races make. And I think that's something that you could always be a bit careful of when you're kind of exploring these kind of roles and otherwise, and I think it in some respects as a player helps you get into that character a little bit more by playing it with a voice or in a certain way. So I think accents can help, but I hope we don't offend anyone. And I think with that in mind, we're going to come to the end of this session.
On that note,
yes,
we are going to just explain that in the next few weeks we are going to have next week we are physically away, we're not gathering. However, what will go live is a first part of our F&G does D&D, so that's Faith and Geekery does D&D special, and so that will be the first half of our session, and that will go live with the video like this and also live with a podcast episode. And then during, for most people, half term, we're just going to kind of throw up a very brief trailer for the next session, and so it's only going to be about 3 or 4 minutes long, slightly longer than one of those videos that we played tonight. So whilst you're off having fun, there's no kind of need to find us the week after. And then the third week, we are going to release the second part of our Faith and Geekery does D&D special part 2. And so there'll be 2 episodes sandwiched with a gap in between. And that will kind of run us to the end of to the end of February, and we'll have lots of D&D conversations. And otherwise, find us on Discord, and I hope you can enjoy the time. I did, again, as I say at the very beginning, had to do a lot of work to make sure that the audio was of good enough quality. I will say there is a bit of fantasy violence, some suggestive language, and some swears. So I'm giving you a heads up now. But yeah, there's only one part where there's some swears. There's only one bit of suggestive language, but there's plenty of violence.
Sometimes comes with the territory.
Yes,
And
it comes with the territory. Rats maybe.
Yeah.
Yes, that's a trigger warning as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, we hope you enjoy it. We hope that it's a bit of fun, and then afterwards, just as we fall into March, we're going to have Jenny explore kind of character creation and the psychiatry, the psychology behind kind of stuff, and thinking about
exploring shadow self and things.
Yeah, so it's kind of going to kind of migrate into more other additional subjects, but D&D-ish related. But we'll see you on the other side, and I hope it's been fun tonight, folks. That you've been, whether you're into it or not, I hope you're able to kind of see that the fun that we've had with it, the fun that is potential for it, but also the way in which you can kind of tweak things and explore other themes using the vehicle of D&D. So again, thank you, Shelby, for DMing. Thank you, Shelby, for joining us tonight, and we look forward to seeing you on the screen, on podcast in the following weeks, and I just hope that it's received well in the way that we enjoyed it.
Discord ?
Yes. Is that? I'm trying to work out what the raised eyebrows are meaning.
It's a suggestive eye wiggle in the hope that we will see Shelby in Discord. They're going.
Oh my gosh! Sorry. Yes, I only have it because I'm lame.
No, that's cool. Well, we'll hopefully see you there, and if not, folks, I hope you can geek safe. Bye bye.